With historical significance, inside one of the oldest cemeteries in Johnson County, historians are now looking for unmarked graves.
Could the bodies of Native American children be buried next to the county's namesake? KCTV5's Leslie Aguilar takes us to the Shawnee Methodist Mission Cemetery.
Hundreds of people drive by it every day, most likely without a second thought. This tiny cemetery on Shawnee Mission Parkway is the final resting place of a Methodist reverend named Thomas Johnson.
Of course, Thomas Johnson is the namesake of our county.
He came to Kansas in the 1830s to start a school for Native Americans forcibly relocated to the area. That's how the Shawnee Indian Mission came to be. It was a boarding school for tribal children.
We have students here from 22 different tribes that I can document.
John Forbes is a volunteer librarian for the now historical site. The cemetery has stones for various Johnson family members, but what, if anything, could be in the area with no visible headstones?
May find nothing, but the idea that there might be Native kids really touches my heart.
Kristen Zane is helping facilitate a study using ground-penetrating radar and other technology to locate possible bodies in the soil. She's also a member of the Wyandotte Nation of Kansas.
As a Wyandotte, we never say somebody's died. We say they're walking through among the strawberries. And when we were doing the GPR, I looked down and there were wild strawberries. I picked one up and I just cried.
Forbes thinks it's unlikely but possible that there are Native American students buried here.
Those of the Shawnee, Delaware, and Wyandotte, if you had deaths in those tribes, they're close enough that the families would have taken the bodies back to their own cemeteries.
But he also believes the story of the Shawnee Indian Mission is one to be proud of a caring man dedicated to helping Native children transition from their own culture and lifestyle to the changing landscape of the American 1840s and 50s.
I say that carefully because some of that's my interpretation. I'm sure that if you went to Shawnee, Oklahoma, and talked with the leadership there, they would give you a slightly different perception. But that's the way that I see it.
But you don't have to go to Oklahoma to get that different perception.
They have sterilized Native American women. They've taken the kids away, put them in residential schools, and a lot of these parents never knew where their kids ended up. So Shawnee Missions is part of that.
The chief, second chief, and secretary of the Wyandotte Nation of Kansas say the history of any boarding school for Native American children is shameful.
Those poor kids. They didn't have a choice, and that would never happen to any other group of people, and it would never be stood for.
The results of the study should be available in a few weeks' time, offering the possibility of new information that could change the way we understand what happened here 150 years ago and what implications remain today.
History is always an evolving story. It is not something that sits down as a constant, one point, this is it, this is everything. There are some constants, but an awful lot of history is the interpretation of the events of the past that make sense and are of significance to the present.
Leslie Aguilar, KCTV5 News.